We'll start off with the Ravens and the Lions, and Jack wasn't here for the Week 7 prediction show. All three of us, Ziggy, Zach, and myself, picked the Lions to win this game. Jack was high on Baltimore. You said 2.5 was one of your locks of the weekend, and 2.5 was more than a lock. 38-6, Baltimore trounces Detroit, and I'm happy about it because I was getting sick and tired of hearing the Lions fans. I know that you've been miserable forever, but I was getting sick and tired of hearing how you run the NFC North. You're on the same level as the Niners and Eagles. We said you were probably closer to the Cowboys. But Ziggy, I know that you thought they were going to go in and push around Baltimore today.
Yeah,
well, it was just the opposite.
On this show, we're honest about our takes. I was dead wrong about this one. We'll talk more about this. I'm still not too worried about the Lions, but this was one of the worst performances in the season by an NFL team. If it weren't for the Broncos' performance against the Dolphins, I might say it was the worst performance in the NFL this season. They looked unprepared. They played bad football. They had bad penalties. They had no offense. They had no defense. Just absolutely nothing went right for this team.
Well, what did we hear from all the Lions fans this week, too? It was the criticism on Detroit was they haven't beaten a good team this year and people said Kansas City had Kelsey and Chris Jones out. Detroit fans were saying, yeah, but we're beating up on average teams. Seattle, we should have won except for the turnovers. This was your chance to go in, we said, and make a statement against Baltimore. And to just get walloped like this, it's a tough look for Detroit. But on the other side, Lamar Jackson right now is playing like the MVP of the league. He just looks unbelievable. We know the Ravens have these stinker games once in a while, like they had against the Colts. But for the most part, this year, he's just been sensational. And I think he's earned his contract. We saw a lot of big contracts this offseason between him, Herbert, Hurts, Burrow got one. I don't think anyone in the league has earned their money more than Lamar this offseason. And right now, Baltimore might be the front runner in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, as you said before, I didn't see 38-6 coming. I didn't see 28 zip at the half, but I did like Baltimore. I'm impressed I wasn't here on the last episode to say it.
You could, yeah, you would have had a good look there.
So you opened the show with how you're sick of this Lions talk. They're 5-1. They're the pretty boys.
But I started to believe it a little bit though.
So did a lot of people. I bet you Baltimore had the same exact mentality. They're sick of these guys. They're in our home stadium now. And Baltimore tends to do this. They have these games where they look flat out amazing. And they're playing at home, first place in the North. They were probably so up to get these guys. They've been the talk of the league for weeks. It was just a very good Baltimore spot to me.
Lamar Jackson this year, too, though, it's not just Lions fans are saying, oh, let's try and shut down the run. We were talking about Detroit having the #1 rush defense going into Week 7 and how that's Baltimore's game. They lead the league in rushing attempts per game. They went in and ran for about 150 yards, so they weren't able to stop that. But it's Lamar's passing this year. I've always thought he's a very good passer. I know that you've had you've had your moments with him, but you're a Steelers fan, so you don't always give him the credit. But this year, I mean, Lamar ripped off 357 today and 3 touchdowns in the air. When he's throwing the ball as well as he has so far this season, it just takes a couple guys in the Ravens receiving corps to step up. And you're talking about one of the most versatile offenses in all of football who can destroy you in the air and also on the ground, have the most explosive quarterback in the league. So right now, I was wrong with the Lions winning this game. Baltimore, to me, Who else like is up there right now in your AFC contenders? It's got to be them and the Chiefs.
What was so amazing today with the Ravens was the fact how they were able to play offense the way they did, both on the ground and through the air, and then shut down one of the better offenses in the league the entire game on defense too. Yeah. Just played a 3-dimensional game for 60 minutes.
Ziggy, who would you say right now in the AFC, you're looking at the contenders to go to the Super Bowl, post-week, or I know we're still in the middle of Week 7 right now. There's some other games going on. But you look at Baltimore, is there anyone you definitively put above them?
So it's tough, right? Because I don't think any team in the NFL has put together as complete a game as this. We're against a good run defense that hasn't given up 100 yards all season. You put up 100 yards in the first half. Against the top 3 offense in the NFL, you hold them to 1 touchdown for the first time in 18 weeks.
Sheesh.
Where against Lamar Jackson is an incredible looking pocket passer. The run game's good. Like everything worked well. I don't think we've seen a game like this. Now, I will say, I think I have the Dolphins up there because even though the Dolphins aren't as good defensively, their offense is just so incredible that I think they can keep up with anyone. I know they had a bad game in Buffalo, and they're not going to be putting up 70 every week, but they have one of the truly elite units in the NFL. Otherwise, I mean, when you can't count on Mahomes not being on, so you have to put the Chiefs up there. But the Bills are inconsistent. There's really not anyone else left. For me, it's just those three teams at the top of the AFC.
So right now you're drawing a line underneath those guys. No Cincinnati in there yet.
I got to see Joe Burrow put together a few more healthy games. So they could be up there. The Chiefs, I don't feel comfortable in what I've seen, but who can bet against them, right? We've just seen too much from what this team can do. But otherwise, nobody has impressed me nearly as much as these Ravens.
I mean, it's tough for me to put Baltimore as the AFC favorite after today. Like, it was a fantastic game, and Ziggy's right, the most complete game that we've seen by any team.
Maybe outside of the Dolphins.
Maybe outside the Niners or like what the Dolphins did, yeah. But this is a team, and you look at history too, and this season, they do lay their clunkers. Yes, they played great, but they've also played some stinkers. I mean, look at San Fran. They beat Dallas 42-10 and lost to Cleveland. Like, you never know.
Well, they're so heavily, their offense relies so much on Lamar being an MVP level player.
And if he is, like, if they play like today, yes, of course. But they're inconsistent. And look at history. History backs that up. I mean, they've lost to the Steelers. They've lost to the Colts. I mean, I pumped the brakes a little bit. Today was awesome, but I'm not going to put them as the AFC favorites. Clear cut.
I mean, from a Steelers fan, that also sounds. I think you're right, though. I think you're right.
They played a great game. They were awesome today.
And it's funny we talk about how every team right now this season has kind of had their bad game. And so if you look from the Lions' point of view, if you're a Lions fan right now, you're probably sitting back going, God, do we belong? Because we just got mauled by really the one fully healthy, good team we played this year. It depends how you want to count Seattle. I think you're okay if you're a Detroit fan. I believe that you just got to flush this one. Say, yeah, Baltimore had one of those games where they're on, but maybe you pump the brakes and say, compared to Philly or San Francisco, we're not on that level yet. Because I don't think Philly or San Francisco gets routed by Baltimore. But the Lions overall today, take a step back, but don't lose faith because you still got. I mean, you should still run away with the NFC North. It's not a good division. And it's just one of those games.
In these cases, for me, it's what's super important is how you respond the following couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, if this team goes out and they win the next two games, totally fine. But if you let this now, if you lose the next couple, that's a cause for concern.
Well, they got Vegas and the Chargers coming up with a bye week in between. So Vegas next week is a get-right game at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be able to come out and win these games, right? Seeding can do a lot of favors for you when you're trying to get through the NFL playoffs. And as a team, having confidence and belief is important. Their next three games are all highly winnable. They host the Raiders, they go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers, and they host the Bears. I'm hoping to see them play well, respond well, win those three games. If they can do that, I mean, here's the thing, right? The Lions are only going to get one more chance this season to play a team that basically everyone agrees is pretty good in the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Now, I know there'll be people in the comments saying the Cowboys stink, we hate them, but like, they're a good team. The Lions are not going to get that chance to get the marquee win. This was it. This was really their chance this season until December 30th when things could be totally different.
But also,
so I just hope that, I hope that in Detroit they're not giving up just because they're
not giving up. I doubt. But also, it's different from college. We're big college football fans, and you need marquee wins. The NFL doesn't matter. It's wins, losses. It's get the seeding. There's no committee in the NFL. It's like,
for me, it's like the easier schedule, the better. I mean, if you can go 13-4, 14-3, get the 1 or 2 seed. I'd rather that.
No, and I don't think that this is a situation where the Vikings last year were winning all those close games, and a lot of people were concerned whether or not they're frauds. Detroit's put together a couple really good football games this year, and today just came out and didn't play well. But we've seen the Ravens struggle.
Baltimore does this.
We've seen Cincinnati struggle, Buffalo struggling, the Eagles had everyone has these games. It's just, you got caught at the wrong time.
And Baltimore does this. I've seen Baltimore do this a million times.